Hello guys, welcome to Online Web Tutor presented by Profotech Solutions team. I am Sanjay. We are learning Laravel Admin Panel Development Beginners tutorial, and this is our part number 21. Inside this video session guys, we will discuss about Yajrabox listing for classes and staff types. And also guys, if you are a beginner to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and keep watching our previous video sessions to get the clear concept about Laravel Admin Panel Development tutorial. So in our last video session guys, if you go to browser, this is our admin panel. So in our last video session, we have implemented the concept of Yajrabox to list all the list sections inside here. And this is the server-side Yajrabox that we have implemented inside this section. So in this video session, we are going to implement the same concept for list classes and for the list faculty types. This is something here. So firstly, we have to start with our list classes. So just we have to go to this route, go to editor, open up called web.php file. So this is our routes folder inside web.php, and this is the route that actually we are going to use. By going through this route basically uses about school class controller, and this is the method actually it is using. So if I copy this method, open up the controller called school class controller. So, and this is not school class, this is student class. So open up a school class controller, and the method is something here. So inside this method, I'm just removing this simple message. Let's say that we are going to attach a view file. So return, let's say view, and inside this, let's say admin dot views dot, and let's say that list classes. So if I copy this name, go to our resources folder, and inside this resources folder admin.views, and inside this views folder we are going to create that file, and this is something called listclasses.blade.php. Now open up this file. In our last video session guys, this is the file that we have made called listsection.blade.php. So if I copy all the contents from this file as a reference, close this file, and pasting inside this list classes.blade.php. Save this file, and we need to change something inside this table structure, or before table structure we need to change something the message, and here is something called list sections. This is all about list classes. Copy this text, pasting it here. Now after changing this message, save this file, back here, and just back to browser, go to database table, and this is all about TBL classes. Inside these TBL classes, if you go to structure, here we have called name, class section ID, seats available, and status. So these are the columns that we have to provide inside our table structure. So back to editor, let's say that this is class name, this is all about class section, and finally we have to make call seats available. So this is all about seat, so these are the columns. So right now we have called 3 and 366 columns we have to make. Just go to controller or at the footer file. So if I go to layouts file, inside this footer.blade.php, or I think that we have attached our script code inside this scripts.blade.php. Scroll down, and now this is the code that we have attached to use our data table. So I'm going to copy, this is the code actually we have written in our previous video session to list our sections, and now this is all about list classes. So go to file, and let me change about, this is about class sections, so need to change that. So this is list classes. Copy this ID, go to your scripts.blade.php and replace with this class. So this is the thing that we need to do, and this is the code for list classes. Go up, and this is code for list sections. So back to list classes. Now we need to change or update the table structure. So this is list all, let's say that this is the route that actually we have to make, and this is all about list all classes. ID, this is our name, something called class name, and we need to add 3 columns more. This is about section. So if I copy here, and if you go to list class.blade.php, as we know that we have ID, name, section, So all about this is ID, name, section, and one more column, that is seats available. So I'm going to add one more column, and this is about seats available. So copy this key and pasting it here. So this is about the key attached with our table structure. Now I'm going to copy this route what we have made and go to web.php file. So open up web.php, and inside this web.php I'm going to define that route. So this is all about if I copying and pasting this row. Let's say that this is about list all classes, or let's say that list classes data, and we have to render inside the same controller. Inside the same controller we have to make our list list all classes. This is the method we have to use, and inside a named parameter we have to write the same route that we have specified inside this script file. Now next we have to define this method. So again go to web.php, copy this method, go to controller, and let's say that public function, and this is the method. Basically this method pulls all the data of classes from the table and render back to our script file, and the script file attached with this table structure. Okay, so as a reference, if I open up our last controller that we have actually worked on and something, so go to folder structure, and this is about class section controller. So first of all we have to actually use our DATATABLE library. So for that we need to import this file. So copy this code, and if I copy footer.bleed.php, go to schools controller, and we need to use data tables before use. So again go to controller, scroll down, and this is list all classes section. So if I copy this code, go here, pasting inside this list all classes, close this file first. But basically this is the code actually used to get all the data from our student class table. But this time we need to make a relationship, because as we know that this is the class section ID attached with our section classes, and this is how, if we click on browse, this is our class section ID. It means that if I open TBL class sections, go to their table, inside this table as we can see that here we have called section A and it has a ID A. Go to section B, it has ID 2, something like that. So this is the ID attached with this table. So we need to make a relationship with this TBL classes to the TBL class sections. So back to editor, again go to the top, and we are going to use DB. Back here, and let's say that this is, I'm getting rid of that, and let's say the classes query, and let's say the DB table. Inside this table, first we need to specify the table name, something called TBL classes, because we are going to start the building relationship among the both two tables. So I'm going to pasting it here, and let's say that this is all about selecting the row. Let's say select, and let's say TBL classes as class. This is the alias name of this class table. So select, let's say that class dot asterisk means we are going to select all the columns from our class table, as well as we have to select, let's say section dot, if I back to our table structure, this is our section name. So we need to select section dot section name. So this is the alias what we are going to make with the relationship with, let's say that left join. Inside this left join we need to pass the table name, something called TBL class sections. Copy the table name, go here, pasting it here as, let's say section. So this is the alias name that we have used for this class sections. Now we have to make the condition. So let's say that when class dot, it means that class dot class section ID. So class section ID, if it is equal to, for that section dot ID, it means the class section ID is equal to section dot ID. Go to sections classes, and this is sections ID. So in that condition we have to pick that row. And finally we have to implement about the where condition. Where condition is something, let's say where. Inside this where just pass an array, and inside that let's say class dot status equal to 1. It means that also the class should be status, means class should be active. Okay, and finally we have to use called the get method. So this is the query that we have made to attach the two tables by using the db class. And finally we need to copy this classes query, pasting inside this database tables of, and also we need to replace this classes query with this student sections. Now go back to our scripts.play.php. This is the name, and now actually this query returns the name, and the name should be something from here. Okay, so it's fine about this code. Now we have called section. Section should be returned by this table called section, and we are returning as section here, so it's also fine. Next we have to say about seats available. So what actually key we have specified into our table, and this is our seats available, so it is also fine. Why we are checking? Because if we have updated our key name, or we have just put our different key for the column, then we have to make a edit column or add column function block here. Okay, so back here let's say status. Status is also fine for the classes because we have a column called status. So back to our controller, save this file, back to browser, go to administrator panel, and I'm going to add the dashboard. Let's open up inspect. So at the bottom, if I open about, let's say something list classes, and here we have some errors. Go to controller, and this is all about exception manage. This is student sections. So if I back here, clicking on the list classes data, this is the route actually it is hitting. Click on that. So no data inside this preview. So here we have called undefined variable called student section. It means that go to editor, and I think that we have somewhere used about the student section, and this is here. So if I copy this classes query and pasting it here, back to our browser, reload this page, and finally we have another error, something called student sections again. So again it means that we have more columns about student section, and this is something for the delete button, as we have remembered that we have made two buttons, something called edit and delete. So that's why we have used two times about the classes query. So save this file, back here, reload this page, and error has gone. If I close this inspect, this is what we got about the list classes. This is our class name, section, seats available, and this is the status. And finally we have made two buttons. So successfully guys, we have integrated our Yajrabox server-side data table for our listing classes. Next we have to use the same concept to render about the data, something called list types. This is our faculty types. So back to editor, first go inside web.php, and for the faculty types, actually we have used the route called tbl faculty types. So it is using the controller, something called faculty type controller. So if I copy this method name, and we have to open about faculty type controller, inside this controller we have a method here. So first of all we have to return a file. So let's return view, and this is about, let's say that admin dot views dot, let's say list staff types. So copy this name of the file, back to resources folder, go inside views folder, and I'm going to create that file. And it's not about only PHP, this is a Laravel file. So basically this is about blade extension. So list staff types.blade.php. Again I'm going inside this list classes blade.php because it is done. Copy that code and pasting it here. Go at the top, and let's say that list staff types, and copy this text, pasting it here. All we have to next, we need to change about the table ID, and this is about list staff types. Go to script.play.php, copy about the whole code about this data table. I'm going to copy and pasting it here. Again go to the top, let's say this is about list staff types. We need to change about the ID of the table, and this is something list staff type. So I'm just copy this ID, back to our script file, replace with this ID, And next we need to fix about the table structure layout. So for that, back to our database table, and finally we have our table, something called TBL faculty types. Inside this TBL faculty types, what we have, go to structure. This is all about ID, type and status. So back to editor, we have to make about the ID. This is all about our faculty name, and sorry, its type, all about status and actions. So we need to remove all these columns. Back to our script file, and next we have to fix here also. So this is about type, and finally type. I'm going to remove all these rest columns. So finally we have fixed about the table structure. Next we have to change about the route. This is about list all, let's say staff types. This is about named parameter. So back to web.php, and let's say that I'm going to copy and paste this row, and here we have to change about, let's say that list faculty types data. It will use about a method, something called faculty type controller, and let's say that list all faculty types. Go to name parameter, we need to replace it here. So if I go to scripts.blade.php, copy this name parameter, again go back to web.php, and we need to replace here also. Okay, so lastly we have to copy this method name, go to our faculty type controller. Here we have to define, so let's say public function, and this is our function name. Now we are on the way to use our data tables. So for that we need to use or import, let's say data tables. Okay, this is about data tables. This is what we are going to use that. Also we can use this path, and also about the alias name. Finally we need to also import about app models, and the controller is attached with this, or sorry, model, and this is about faculty, and this is type. Okay, again go back to our method what we have made inside this method, and also I'm going to open our reference controller, something or school class controller. This is not that, this is about class section controller. So back here I'm going to copy all the code here, go to faculty type and pasting inside this method. Just save this file. All we need to change here about this, let's say faculty type, and this is faculty type, and also this is also the variable, something called faculty types. Only we need to change about the variable names. Copy this variable name, pasting it here, and finally go at the last sections about the delete button, and also we have an edit button. So if I save this file, go to browser, again if I click on inspect, go at the faculty types and click on this link, and we have some errors. This says cannot use. Okay, I think that we have redeclared about the 2 times about faculty types. So go at the top, and this is about faculty type and controller. So go at the top. Okay, finally we have redeclared 2 times, so we just remove 2 1. Save this file, again back to our here and reload this page. We have some errors. What is basically the error is, go to network, clicking on that, and inside preview or response we have no error. So let me check that. So if I press OK, and inside that I think that we have an error, and error is something class data tables not found. Actually I think that we have the name. Go at the top, and this is our data tables, and I think that we have used the aliases. If you go to config app, and if you go to the aliases, this is about, and I think that the T is here, it's in a small case, and we have used at the capital case. So this is about data tables. So save this file, reload this page, and the error has gone. This is about listing staff types. So now guys, inside this video session we have completed about the listing of 2 sections, about the list classes, and we have used about the list faculty types. In our next video session we will use about the list faculties and about the listing students. So inside this video session guys, if you have any doubt then please drop your comment. I will give my reply as soon as possible. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day.